The Houston Texans could be in real trouble with what they're wheeling out there on Sunday for their offensive line. Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody, and we're here to preview the Steelers versus the Texans live from Houston, Texas, this Sunday. And this will be the Week 4 matchup for your Pittsburgh Steelers. And like I was saying there at the beginning of the video, the Steelers defense could really eat here and cause CJ Stroud to have some immense trouble. And things could get quite rough for him real quick. The Houston Texans are going to be wailing out literally a B team offensive line. And against the Jacksonville Jaguars, they only let up, 4 quarterback hits, no sacks, and that was a great performance. But there's bad news for this Houston Texans team. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a far better pass rush than the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're not even in the same atmosphere, the same planet. The Steelers' pass rush is absolutely elite, especially at the outside linebacker position when your two starters, Alex Highsmith and the great TJ Watt, are lining up against a makeshift offensive line for the Houston Texans. It could only spell disaster for your team. And the Steelers defense could quite possibly have a day to where they totally carry the Steelers yet again, like they did against the Browns. And things could get quite rough whenever you're CJ Stroud and you don't have any time to pass. And through the first 2 weeks, the offensive line for the Houston Texans, they let up, 19 quarterback hits, 11 sacks, not very good statistics. And they're already missing Lamari Tunsil. I think that's how you say it, Lamari Tunsil. So he's out. Then you have Josh James, who's out for them. So they're willing out guys like Kendrick Green. I mean, that's a guy that we've had on the scrap heap here in Pittsburgh for quite some time, and we tried to do different things with him. He was just recently trying to play fullback. Now you wheel him down to Texas, and I don't think anything's going to change with Kendrick. And I think he said that he's really looking forward to playing the Pittsburgh Steelers this Sunday. However, careful what you wish for there, Kendrick, because I think you know in your heart of hearts what kind of trouble you and your teammates are about to be in whenever this whistle blows on that first drive for the Houston Texans. So, keys for the Steelers on defense, obviously the pass rush and that makeshift line of the Houston Texans. We have to take advantage of that, and you have to put great pressure on CJ Stroud, not allow that run game to get going, totally blow it up, push, get that 1-2 foot intrusion every play right off the bat into the backfield to where you're making the whole pocket look like it's instantly collapsing, and that run game has no room to get going. It's just absolutely smothered. And then if you're a defensive back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think the scheme should be aggressive man-to-man coverage. And the reason I say that is because I think that the pass rush is going to really get home. And I think it's going to really have CJ Stroud trying to make quick, aggressive throws. And if you're in tight, aggressive man coverage, you're going to force Stroud into some really bad situations. Very high contested throws to where the defensive backs are going to have a chance to make a play on the ball, which could cause a great deal of turnovers, if you ask me. And I think that that's where this Pittsburgh Steelers defense really needs to take advantage and not just go into that soft zone coverage to where there's going to be some open guys. You've got to come out and be very aggressive if you're the Steelers. You have to play super tight, man on man. And that's where I think Joey Porter Jr. should get a lot of snaps come this Sunday, because that's his style of play. I think Patrick Peterson should be moved in and play some of the slot guys and things of that nature. And I think that could prove to be some big turnovers for Patrick Peterson, because Joey Porter Jr., Levi Wallace forcing the issue on the outside, making some very contested, highly aggressive pass defenses. And that should cause some balls to be batted up in the air and things of that nature, to where a guy like Patrick Peterson could be opportunistic. The middle linebackers could be opportunistic whenever those things happen. The safeties, Minka Fitzpatrick, DeMonte Casey, those types of guys could really feast off of an aggressive outside push on those Houston Texan wide receivers. And I had some notes, and I wanted to read to you guys what kind of a starting lineup that the Houston Texans could possibly be wheeling out there on the offensive line, and that is Kendrick Green, Jared Patterson, Shaq Mason. We know Shaq Mason. We've heard his name before. But these other names, George Fant, Austin DeCallis. Yeah, however you say his last name. These guys are a bunch of no-namers. Kendrick Green, we only know because he was here in Pittsburgh, but if he had played anywhere else, none of us would have ever heard of Kendrick Green because he's not that good of a ball player. And the Steelers really missed when they drafted him as the replacement for Marquise Pouncey, and totally flopped by giving him his number and anointing him. That was a big mistake for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now gladly Omar Khan was able to get something for that mistake and ship him off to Houston so they can have that problem for themselves. So that is just the big keys for this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. High pressure, make Stroud uncomfortable, shut down that run, collapse that pocket quickly, get quick, aggressive pressure from the linebackers even coming downhill to stuff that run game out. Don't allow any space for them to be able to get any type of run, any type of play action going. Smother that. Totally make him one-dimensional to where he's dropping back in the pocket, trying to get rid of it super fast. Make it to be that way. And then smother them with super aggressive secondary play from your Pittsburgh Steelers. And suffocate those wide receivers. Highly contested footballs. Don't allow CJ Stroud to beat you unless he's making absolutely amazing throws. And if he beats you that way, then so be it. Then it's meant to be. But that's what you have to do if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So, guys, let's move over to the offensive side of the ball. And I just want to give some real simple things for the offensive side of the ball. And we're not even going to get really in depth because I think this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is going to have such a big day and such a dominating performance that the only thing that this Steelers offense needs to do is to not screw the shit up. You can't, just don't mess up, man, period. Don't mess up. And if you're Kenny Pickett in this offense, you have to just protect the football, utilize the run game, the play action pass, and whenever that Texans defense comes up and plays that man-to-man coverage, burn them with that speed of Calvin Austin III, of George Pickens with his separation, because there's nobody on that football field for the Huston Texans that can run with Calvin Austin III. So utilize that. When you see a man-on-man coverage exhibited by the Houston Texans, you have to take advantage of that if you're Kenny Pickett. You're going to have those check with me plays, like get it going down the field and cause a big splash play if you can. Also, if you see the Texans in that soft defense that they were playing against the Jags, I felt like the Jags were making some of their yards whenever the Houston Texans were playing the zone. Which is obvious. You're going to have some soft spots. And I think the Steelers need to take advantage of that and utilize those downs with your defense or with your tight end grouping. You have to utilize a Pat Freiermuth. A Darnell Washington has to start getting some looks. Connor Hayward, get him out there. Also, what about your screen game out of the backfield? But I think you need to attack that middle of the field, from the middle to the sideline, short to intermediate throws. And I think you really need to dig on those and really hammer those home and really attack them that way, because I think that will be prove to be a quality play for you from that short to intermediate, tight end passes, screen passes, getting that play action pass set up, then stretching it down the field a little bit when they decide to come up and play that tight man. I think those are the situations that the Steelers offense needs to find themselves in this Sunday. And again, I just have to emphasize it again, and that is the Steelers offense only has one job this week, this Sunday, to get to 3-1, and that is don't mess it up. Don't lose the football. Don't fumble the football. Kenny cannot throw interceptions. You can't look at yourself and say, hey, man, this Texans team, they're not that great. Yeah, I'm going to just force the ball, force the issue. No, Kenny Pickett has to play smart. And the offensive line group has to control Will Anderson. You can't allow him to constantly harass Kenny Pickett like you have Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa. You can't allow that to happen again for the fourth straight week. You have to be able to control a little bit of Will Anderson. He's probably going to get some pressure, but you have to be able to control him. And the Steelers need to utilize a little bit of the chip game with your running backs to chip Will Anderson. He is a rookie. Hopefully you can get him off his game a little bit with some chips and some misdirection type stuff and keep him guessing and not allow him to come full throttle at Kenny Pickett. So those are my real keys to the Steelers offense. And it's really simple, guys. Don't mess it up if you're Kenny Pickett. Don't mess it up if you're Matt Canada. Be steady. Be very purposeful in what you're calling. Make sure you're grinding clock off. Make sure you're controlling the football, not allowing Stroud out there. Take the ball out of Stroud's hands. Don't even let him get the chance. Grind the clock. Be very controlling if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers offense in terms of time of possession, running the football, using the short to intermediate pass game with your tight ends and running backs. So this could be a big, big win for the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys. I want to wrap this video up. I think this could be the first real blowout win for your Steelers team because I think the Steelers defense is going to be absolutely terrifying. They're going to be so dominant, in my opinion, on Sunday. I'm really thinking they're going to swing for the fences here and cause some major headaches for CJ Stroud. And I know that Huston Texans team's coming off a big win down in Jacksonville. However, Jacksonville's falling apart a little bit right now, and who knows how they look later on down the road as the season progresses once they figure out their identity again and figure out what works best for them again this season. But I think the Steelers right now are starting to heat up. I think they're on the opposite end of the spectrum of what Houston played last week. I think the Steelers now are finally starting to put things together, and they're slowly building each week. And I think this is where it's going to be the first week of the season that they're going to put a complete game together, all three phases, special teams, defense and offense. And I think the coaching staff is going to get one of those games to where they can actually get comfortable and deploy everything that they have and get this team rolling and get it going in the right direction with a big monster blowout win. And I know I said that the offense only has to not mess it up, but I want to say that this might be your first time seeing a Kenny Pickett-led offense, a Matt Canada-led offense in the NFL gain 400 yards. I'm going to go out on a limb with that, and I'm going to say the Steelers get out of Houston with 420 yards of total offense. And I know that might be a stretch. I think Kenny Pickett has 3 passing touchdowns, and I think Jaylen Warren hits a long home run touchdown and has over 100 yards on the ground. I think it could happen. Those are my statistics. I think Pat Freiermuth and the tight end group, I think they get a couple of those touchdowns. And I think the wide receivers get one. George, Calvin, one of them get one. Maybe even Allen Robinson, who knows. But I think it's going to be majority of the tight end group and the running back group really breaking out and scoring a lot of points this week because that tight end group and that tight end room has been real silent. And I think this is going to be their coming out party for this season. And you're going to see some Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward, and Pat Freiermuth. And I think they're going to come and really destroy the Houston Texans this week. And this should be a very big game for your Pittsburgh Steelers. So, guys, until next time, I appreciate you stopping through. Don't forget to hit that red subscribe button. It's been helping us out a lot. We're gaining some major steam here. So keep on watching keep on watching Mike Drop Sports. And until next time, peace.